Hey everyone, this is NintendoMike. Welcome to the show. Starting out, this is the first video of the show. Hope you guys are going to enjoy it. What we're going to talk about is the 1-year anniversary of the Nintendo 3DS that was released last year on March 27, 2011 in North America. Who would have thought that in just one short year, actually, it wasn't even a year before the 3DS actually made a huge turnaround, that they were able to bring the little 3DS that could and that Nintendo hoped for, despite there are too high expectations for it, but they still managed to turn around and make it in a year. It was a not so impressive launch lineup, I will tell you that. Personally myself, the only real Nintendo launch game I bought was Nintendogs plus Cats. Was the only thing that really made me go for it. And I bought Super Street Fighter 4 3D edition and Lego Star Wars 3 The Clone Wars also that same time. When I first turned on the 3DS and when I did the 3D effects test, I was like, wow, that was awesome. Like, that was awesome. And my old manager at the time also, he's like, that was pretty cool, pretty neat. But I wear glasses plus contacts, and I play my 3DS with the 3D on mostly all the time. Never get any headaches or complaints about my eyes or whatnot. Moving on after that, this is just going to be a quick overview of the 3DS and how quickly it made an impression on everybody. So, in April, the sales were slow, which disappointed Nintendo, and they were pretty disappointed from that. And as well as May, both April and May were both the two dry months. Then come along June, E3 2011, Nintendo's press conference when they launched the Nintendo eShop by firmware update, and then they also launched the one of the first major games to get for free, which is the 3D Classics Excitebike, which I was like, yeah, Excitebikes, yeah, I want that. And then they also, because it was also in a time when they're celebrating the 25th anniversary of Legend of Zelda, they also released Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening DX, the Game Boy Color Classic, also. I think it was like $5.99. I think it still is to this day. But yeah, that was in June also released the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D Classic Remake, which looked beautiful, ran on 30 frames per second, was a lot faster than the original, a lot faster than the Nintendo 64 Classic, and I was excited for that. July was kind of slow, up and down, but they were slowly putting virtual console classics for the 3DS, which later in the year we had Super Mario Land 1 and 2, and then the Classics 1989 Tetris game, as well as Donkey Kong, as well as Kirby's Dream Land, and those kind of classics. Then come around, what was it, September? Yeah, September and August. August is when Nintendo announced saying they're gonna drop the price on the 3DS to $169.99 here in the US, and with that, it actually had a 260% sales increase. So 3DSs were selling off the market left and right. We couldn't keep 3DSs in stock during the time also. It was actually pretty awesome to know that Nintendo had that big turnaround. As well as in September, they also released another color, which is the red 3DS. And then that, made more variety for people, because at the time it was only the black one or the blue one you can buy. But with the red, mostly everyone's favorite color could be red, so they were like, yup. Also, Star Fox 64 3D, that also was released as well, and that made a huge turning point. In October, I think that was also kind of a slow month a little bit, but they were still selling 3DSs, because lo and behold, here comes good old November, which is the month that actually saved the 3DS and made the 3DS sell amazingly high for Nintendo because of one little game, Super Mario 3D Land. Of course, that game came out, and when I first saw it at E3 and they showed more gameplay footage for it, I was like, this game is gonna give everyone a good reason to go buy a 3DS. And sure enough, it was. Black Friday sales came around. People were buying that Super Mario 3D Land bundle, the red 3DS and Super Mario 3D Land. Everyone was buying that left and right. And then the following month in December was also the Mario Kart 7 release, and everybody bought that too. And this is when the eShop was also starting to rise up too. The eShop, as in like Pushmo, Freaky Forms, also where you can just bring your creations to life, also is what also helped drive the 3DS sales also. And then Also, I forgot this also. People that bought the 3DS at launch because of the slow sales and the disappointing sales from the early launch on for the first few months of launch. When they also did the price drop, people that bought the 3DS, if your serial number qualified, you can also get you were also able to be the 3DS ambassador, which I'm one to this day. That's why my 3DS is special to me. I always wanted to buy another one, but I had my 3DS. They gave you the 10 classics NES games, which are the following, to name a few actually: Legend of Zelda, Zelda 2: Link's Awakening, Super Mario Brothers, Metroid, Wrecking Ball, and NES Open Tournament Golf, to name a few. And then later on in December is when they released the 10 free Game Boy Advance games also. Excuse me, which is also the following: Legend of Zelda Minish Cap, Fire Emblem Sacred Stones, Wario Land 4, WarioWare micro games, as well as Metroid Fusion, to name a few also. Those games, I was like, yeah, this 3DS is gonna be just fine. This is gonna be just fine. Now entering 2012, which is like the year that Nintendo had to try and make a big comeback, because last year they talked about Resident Evil, and if you got also Resident Evil: The Mercenaries 3D, you got to play a small, like, 5-minute demo of Resident Evil Revelations, which is also a big one. As well as last year, they also talked about the Circle Pad Pro. They talked about that and how it was released already in Japan. It was supposed to be, in the big game they were pushing it for was Monster Hunter 3, the Monster Hunter game for the 3DS, and how amazing it is. At first I was kind of skeptic on it, but I looked it up and I saw what was the main function for it, and that right circle pad is for the camera function and to enhance the gameplay also, because it had the same thing with the Wii Classic Controller. Wii Classic Controller had was the ZL buttons, and I was like, oh, I want that. And then on February 7th, the final release date of Resident Evil Revelations. Boy, oh boy, I had to wait for it because my girlfriend wanted to buy it for me. So I waited, and I didn't buy the Circle Pad Pro neither. So I loafed on that, procrastinated on that. Sorry. And then what else? And then the following 2 weeks, Metal Gear Solid 3D Snake Eater came out. That came out, which is also another very good reason for hardcore gamers, to buy a 3DS. And then what else happened? Early in this year, this March earlier, a couple of games were released also. eShop games such as Mutant Mudds also came out, as well as Mighty Switch Force came out earlier this year, and Sakurai Samurai and Dylan's Rolling Western, another few sets of 3DS eShop games. Then March 23rd also was the release for Kid Icarus Uprising, the 25+ year waiting game that Project Sora was working on, which is, development head of Masahiro Sakurai and his team at Project Sora, the creator also behind the Super Smash Bros. Series, released the game, was finally released. And if anything, it's like my number 2 reason to go buy a 3DS and just go have fun with it, and it pushes the 3DS to the highest potential, not the maximum, but the highest potential of what can it do. With the fact that you have online gameplay that plays a lot like Super Smash Brothers, and the story is also there. That game is just amazing, and it's really long also, surprisingly. It's longer than what most people are going to expect. And but yeah, I mean, that's it right now. I mean, that's like a quick overview on my experience with the 3DS in just 1 year. It's been one happy year, despite, like I said, the slow sales of the first 2 months at launch, where it was really, really dry. Nothing was happening for the 3DS, and most of the analysts like on GameSpot and IGN were kind of disappointed. But June is what really saved us, because it's what gave us anticipations. Now we're entering 2012. It's March 31st. It's been like 4 days after the year anniversary, which, if you were lucky on the anniversary day, March 27th, you were able to get a special Street Pass of a special Mii character, Reggie Fils-Aimé, Nintendo of America President Head. So if you were able to get that, that's awesome, because I know I did. But stay tuned to what's going to happen for Nintendo later this year for the 3DS also, because we still are waiting for a couple more 3DS titles that they showed off last year. Luigi's Mansion 2, Fire Emblem is what's being talked about a lot recently. My buddy, the person that I follow on Twitter, My Nintendo News, posted a lot of stuff, and there's actually some gameplay, like a 5-minute gameplay footage of Fire Emblem 3DS, which looks pretty awesome, and I can't wait. As well as Kingdom Hearts 3D, Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance also, we're still waiting for that. We're still also waiting for Super Paper Mario 3D, whatever we call that, as well as Animal Crossing as well. I'm definitely looking forward to the Animal Crossing. And what else am I looking forward to the 3DS? And you know, whatever other 3DS titles Nintendo has working up on their sleeves within this year, I'm looking forward to it. Stay tuned for more updates as well, because like I said, this is an update show, so I'm going to be posting updates on what's going on with the world of Nintendo, as well as 3DS eShop games and must-buy titles, if not titles to check out to go get for your 3DS, as well as titles for the eShop. So thank you for viewing. Please subscribe, leave comments below, and share your thoughts and opinions. Alright guys, thanks.